This is Ashton Marcus, and I'm on location at the Gem Theatre for their presentation of Next to Normal.
Hi, I'm Ashton Marcus with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm with
Damian Lorton. I'm the artistic director of the Gem Theatre in Garden Grove.
Okay, and also, did you direct this?
I directed Next to Normal, yes.
So why did you choose this play?
You know, it's a very funny story. We were in negotiations for the rights for another musical, and they fell through, and MTI offered us this. We're the first theater in Orange County to be able to bring the show to life. And I originally said no. And 15 minutes later, my business partner, Nicole Cassessa, was on the phone and closing out a contract. And I said, well, did we get a different show? And she said, yes, we're doing Next to Normal. And I was in quite resistance to it at first, but I'm very glad that I had the opportunity to do it. I finally came over to it. It hit a lot of personal things for me. When I was a young boy, I lost a brother, and my family life, which was a wonderful family life, really fell apart. And I had a mom that got very depressed for many years and fought it for the rest of her life. So it hit really close to home for me, and I didn't really want to go for that. But I'm so glad that I did. It's turned out to be just a beautiful experience for, I think, everyone involved, the actors, myself, and the audience.
Yeah. Okay, here's the bad news then. I just came from the La Jolla Playhouse. They did fantastic. So I loved it. It was almost a Broadway musical that I just saw this morning, right? I've already seen Next to Normal. It was done by the Morgan Wixon up in L.A. for the West Coast premiere.
Yes.
So I've already seen this thing. I've just seen a fantastic performance before this, but believe it or not, I still like this performance.
Thank you. I'm so glad you did. You know, we approach it differently. There's very few props in the show. There's just a very minimalistic set. It's all about the story and the emotion through the piece.
Yeah. And again, I was talking to the cast members, interviewing them, and I can see why I liked it is because they personalized a lot of these stories. It turns out a lot of them have experience, just like you did.
Oh, yes.
They all had this experience, and it shows in their performance.
It is, and it's really about honoring the story. This is, I say at the beginning, this isn't Anything Goes. It's not Gypsy. It's true life. And when we go out on stage each night, we know that we're honoring the story. And for example, the very first night, I had a woman come up to me that said, my son died 17 years ago, and I still talk to him every day. This is my story. And the actors know that, and we approach it with such gentleness about it. And we really want to tell the story and let people know that this is what happens in life and that this is life.
I could appreciate the story behind it, too.
Well, thank you. I'm so glad that you're able to come out tonight, and I'm glad you're able to experience this with us, and I'm so happy that we're able to bring this to life here.
Okay. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for coming out and for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm with
Catherine Lubick. I went to Los Alamitos High School. I was in the show choir program for 4 years, and now I'm in culinary school at the Cordon Bleu studying patisserie and baking.
And which character did you play?
Natalie. She's just kind of a crazy teen who doesn't give a shit about what her parents think, and she just wants to get out of her house because she has a crazy mother and a father who just doesn't care. And by the end of the show, she just finally learns how to feel and learns how to appreciate people and let other people in and care for other people.
What kind of research did you do on something like this?
I looked up stuff on bipolar disorder, and my father actually has issues with it, so I took my experience with that and put it into this show, and it really helps a lot, like having knowing how to live with someone that has this issue and then doing it with this show. It's literally like living my own life, so it's kind of crazy but kind of cool at the same time.
My fans appreciate you being so open about that because that's very, very personal about that. And I basically can't really imagine what you're going through as a child of someone who's suffering something like that.
Yeah. My dad has severe OCD, and it's like some days are great and some days just aren't. And like he just can't leave the house, and like I had to grow up really fast. So I think Natalie had to do that too, and she just kind of had to fend for herself and do whatever she could. And so, yeah, I love this character, and I just feel like myself on stage, so it's great. great.
I actually saw this exact musical being done at the Morgan Wixon up in Santa Monica. There were some things about that I liked more than this one, but I actually liked your part here a lot better than I liked the one over there.
Really?
Nothing to do with the actress over there. It was just there was something about your role that was just very palpable.
Thank you. Yeah, I really wanted to show the audience that I could feel this character more than, I don't know, like anyone else, but like it's literally a dream for me to play this, and it's crazy that there's a show out there that literally reminds me of my own life, but yeah, it's really cool.
It's weird the way things like that work in life.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, because actually if you go through the experience, I'm told, if you go through the experience you've gone through, certain things happen in your life this kind of has a purpose behind it.
Yeah, definitely. And this is not one of those shows where you can just go on stage and just like smile. There's one number in the show that's like all cheesy, but the rest is like you have to be serious, and it's made me face a lot of demons in my life, and I've had to think about all of the crap that I've gone through with my dad, and it's really made me become a better person. So
I loved your performance. Thank you very much for being on the show.
thank you too. Thanks for coming.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm with
Jonathan Fierros. I'm 23 years old. I go to Azusa Pacific University where I study in the BFA for acting, and I grew up in Whittier, California. I played Henry, the boyfriend. Henry is a really funny guy. We first meet him and he's kind of like a stoner, lazy guy. He's really, really liked Natalie, the daughter, for a very long time. The relationship blooms, and he really steps into his role as like the caretaker and rock for her world. For the first time, Natalie's put first in someone's life, and Henry gets to be that person.
This was such an emotionally charged musical. How did you find the emotion? What kind of research did you do?
Well, I was actually diagnosed with clinical depression when I was in 7th grade, so I've had quite a history with medications and therapy visits and stuff. And you know, I've come to a place of understanding, and it's been really, really great for me. But this show has been really, really therapeutic for me, and being able to look on all of the lessons that I've learned throughout my years and bring that to a new person.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that with me, because again, it's actually a lot more common than people think. I think it's like, what, 1 in 80 people are diagnosed with something like this?
Oh yeah, and I think it's so stigmatized that we need to talk about it. And I think it's something that we need to be more confident about, because for a long time I didn't know that like I had clinical depression. I just thought that something was wrong, and I kept trying to figure out what was wrong, and my family wouldn't talk about any of these things until finally when I became of age and I went out and sought answers for myself. And that was a turning point. And I think when people learn to do that, they really empower themselves, and empower themselves in the face of adversity.
Well, I was very moved by the play, and I was very moved by all the performances.
Right on. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm with
Elissa Alexander. I'm from Merced, California. I am getting my BFA currently at Cal State Fullerton. I'm going to be a senior there next year. So I've just been doing shows here and shows at school, and I grew up doing theater for since I was 5 years old. So, yeah.
And which character did you play?
Diana Goodman. She's struggling with a mental illness. She's bipolar and schizophrenic. She is dealing with the loss of her son and just kind of figuring out how to deal with that, and she goes through a lot of different treatments and just trying to live and just figure out how to live her life.
What kind of research did you do on a role like this? It's so dramatic.
Yeah, I did a lot of research on just the bipolar disorder. It took a lot of that, just figuring out the difference between the manic states and the depressive states, and where the side effects of that, of each one, and how they're so drastically different, and they have very different side effects, and finding those, and then of course the ECT, and figuring out how to just wash of everything, and just that divide, and just I watched a couple documentaries, a couple movies about just people living with the disorder, because there are real people like this, and we don't really think about it as something that's so relevant, but it is, and we've had people come to the show with it, and just things like that, and it touches on something that is so unspoken. I think it's just such a testament to like the show itself is such a testament to people who like stories are unsaid, because something like that, like a mental illness, is so relevant, and it happens, and like people struggle with anxiety and depression and all of these different things that people don't really talk about, and like then someone has a panic attack and you're like, oh my gosh, like that's so weird, but it's so relevant and so personal to people. And just I think that this show is so important because it gives light to that, and it tells a story of just someone's real life, and people deal with this all the time. I like personally have I have severe anxiety, and so I deal with that, and so like I connect with her because of that, and then people will come and you have no idea, and people are connecting with the show for so many different reasons, and it's just so relevant to like today's life, and it's sad and it's like depressing, but like life is sad and depressing, and then at the end we sing light, and it's just a story of hope, and you're like, oh, but there are good things can come from bad ones, you know? And so I think it's just such a cool show because it just gives light to things that aren't talked about. It's not just like a song and dance, like, you know what I mean? It's written so brilliantly that every single thing that everybody says in the show means so much. Like there's just so much behind it, you know what I mean? Like there's not a line in the show that is just written to be written. Everything makes sense, and I think every single person who comes and sees the show is going to be able to connect with it in some way, shape, or form. You know what I mean? Whether it be a line or the entire story or the mental disorder or whatever it is. Like there are just so many things. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm with
Brandon Taylor Jones, actually. I'm from Brea, California, for as long as I can remember, since I was 5 years old, and I grew up over there, went to school there, and I've been going to the Brea schools for as long as I've been like there, you know. And I have been doing theater at Stage Light Family Productions, which is one of the children's theaters in Brea, and I grew up doing their theater since I was 4 years old. And then I was also in the All-American Boys Chorus from 2005 to 2009, so I got to travel around the world, and I got to go to places like Canada, Asia, and like all around the United States, and that was a really awesome opportunity. And then I found the Gem like in about like a couple years ago, so now I'm here. I played Gabe Goodman. Gabe is, I like to think he's misunderstood. He is the son of Dan and Diana, and he died at 8 months old, and Diana really didn't get over it. So he's just been kind of growing up in her subconscious for as long as she's been living. He's been growing up with her. So he kind of he's like haunting her, but like in the most genuine way possible. I think, you know, all he wants is to just be with her and just for her to love him, and that's the only way that he survives, is if she truly believes that he is with everyone. And so he's kind of just he's smart, he's manipulative, and he's just fun to be around.
What kind of research did you do for this character? Because again, this character doesn't exist.
Right. The character doesn't exist. I think I pull from things from my life where, you know, obviously Gabe gets jealous, he gets manipulative, he gets he's obviously like he has like the same emotions as we do. So you kind of just tie from what you know, and you know, it is true he doesn't exist, but I feel like he does exist like in all of us, and I feel like all these characters really do like live inside of each one of us. I think that's why the show is super relatable to audiences when they come to see it.
Well, I really love the show, and I like your performance. So thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm with
Edgar Torrens. I actually just eventually moved down here after a few years of contemplating coming to California. So I've only been here for
less than a couple of months. I did a lot of regional work out of San Diego, Starlight Theater, American Rose Theater, did some tours. I also did a lot of work in Arizona, is actually where I moved from. So I have a lot of credits over there. I've done some directing, I've done some choreography, stuff like that. So, but I'm really excited to be here, kind of in the homeland. For all of us artists, we really enjoy just being active and always, performing and stuff like that. So, I've been all over. Yeah, did some stuff on the East Coast as well. I played Dr. Madden, Dr. Fine in the beginning, and also Dr. Madden for the rest of the show. Psychopharmacologist would be Dr. Fine, which is one of his opening numbers as a doctor, and he's actually different from Dr. Rock, who is also known as Dr. Madden. So, Psychopharmacologist is a wonderful number. It basically introduces you to Diana's life, the things that she goes through with the drugs and the Zoloft and this and that, and so it's kind of an ironic number because I really love the way that they portrayed it as very light and airy as opposed to very dark. They did the exact opposite with that number. And then there's also Dr. Rock, also known as Dr. Madden. Later on in the first act, who we meet is a new therapist that she's going to try to see to try different avenues of recovery, and finding I guess remorse and finding out how to grieve and stuff like that through him. So it was really a wonderful role. Actually, I made a connection with Liza, who plays Diana, and I think the way I decided to do it was that Dr. Fine's kind of grieving the loss of someone close to him, someone that he wasn't able to help, he wasn't able to fix, and so it was kind of a wonderful connection to make with her. That I do get a second chance with Diana. I do want to fix her. I do want to recover. For my own reasons. I think that Dr. Madden has his own baggage as well that he's going through with this process with her, and I think that's why I find that deep connection with her.
So how do you find the emotion? Because this is such a deep. How do you find the research to handle a character like that?
It's funny. I went home a couple of weeks ago, and I finally decided, I'm gonna sit down and YouTube some videos on psychotherapy as well as the ECT, which is the electric shock therapy, and it's just some of the cases that you look at in the procedures that they go through is just it's so heartbreaking, and you feel for those people, and I think that in me having watched those videos really helped me connect to the show a lot more, and it really helped me connect to my character, on a personal level, being that, I kind of use that to imagine the fact that, someone close to me, my wife or another patient, kind of, went through the same thing who I was not able to help. So I dug really deep and made myself watch those videos, build a relationship through rehearsals, and got to know Liza, personally, and that's basically what I did as far as homework to kind of dig for those emotions.
I loved your performance there. I loved the play. I thought it was very, very emotionally charged.
No, it's definitely full of energy. It's very heavy, and it's so funny because no matter how much we try to downplay it, no matter how much lightness we try to add to the first act, it seems to just hit people every time. And I think that the message that we wanted to deliver is that no matter who you are, where you're from, what your background is that everybody struggles and everybody goes through life, and everybody has instances where they crash and burn, and these things happen to everybody. And I think that the message we want to get through to people is that at the end of the day, we are all alike. You might cross somebody on the street, you might run into somebody in the grocery store who you might see every day, and you don't know what their everyday life is. You know what I mean? They could be going through some of those same exact things, and those people think that they're alone. Those people think that they are not normal, And I think I just think it's on the contrary, because I think everybody has their home life, everybody goes through their own baggage and struggles, and yeah, it's just it's a wonderful piece, it's a wonderful story, and I think that's what we want to get through to the audience. But yeah, full of energy, a lot of emotion. So yeah, definitely, it's definitely drenching while we're going through it. It's a little bit taxing, but we get through it.
Well, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
My name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm with...
You're with Alex Bodrero. I was born and raised in Laguna Beach. I started playing guitar when I was 10, and I learned some Beatles songs, and I was doing rock and roll and blues. And then in high school, I got into some musical theater. In college, I started doing more theater. And eventually, I transferred to Chapman University, graduated there with a vocal performance degree. So I was all classical opera stuff. And since that time, I've gone back to musical theater. And I've just been loving it. I've kind of made a home here at the Gem. This is my, I think, fifth show, and I'm really, really loving doing this show. I love the cast. I started here with the show Violet, which was another small cast, and so it's great to be working with a small but mighty group. I play Dan, the father / husband. He is an architect. He and Diana, the mother, the lady with the bipolar, they got married when they were in their early 20s. After she got pregnant with his child. Fast forward, the present day of the show, present setting is they're dealing with her bipolar issues, which have intensified, and they're all struggling between wanting to support her and each other and wanting to just get out of Dodge, and then they're struggling with the guilt of that desire to leave, and so it's a very energized, emotionally show because of these conflicting desires and wants.
I could feel the emotion in it. It was just very palpable. And again, the audience, I could see that the audience was feeling it too. It was just very touching.
I think so. It's been, this is our third performance now, and I don't think we've ever performed it where there hasn't been somebody teary-eyed, even in the rehearsals, including ourselves, including the light designer, who's a grumpy old man. And this one, they look back and he had tears in his eyes. It's very moving, and I think it'll touch lots of people. And I think it's very poignant. I think it's a contemporary issue. We live in an age now where we're looking at psychology a lot more, where we're saying, what everybody's being diagnosed with something, and while there is overdiagnosis going on, there's also a stigma, an unfair stigma on that. People do have legitimate issues that it's worth looking into, and this show addresses that.
Well, I like the show. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Well, thank you. It was my pleasure. Thank you for coming to it.
Next to Normal will be playing at the Gem Theatre from June 18th to July 12th. For more information, go to www.onemoreproductions.com or theorangecurtainrev.com.